Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Affairs. My name is Shamsul Panta and I have a wonderful panel today on this very program. But I want to begin our Monday, the 12th of January, with the top news, which includes U.S. President Donald Trump saying Washington is weighing very strong options on Iran. Alongside, Israeli airstrikes are continuing in southern Lebanon, and Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian is vowing to address economic problems amid protests. Ladies and gentlemen, in the studio we will be having Professor Dr. Rizwana Karim Snigdha of Jahangirnagar University. She, of course, will be talking about human behaviors, and of course, she's a practitioner of anthropology. On the other side, we have Norman Floyd Barnes, our geopolitical correspondent, joining from Washington, D.C. I want to ask the very first question. It is a very imminent threat that I understand between U.S. and Iran on the other side. Although after a 2 to 3 day internet blackout, we have seen reports that suggest that the protesters have gone down, or the protest has gone down. However, the threat from the U.S. side remains very active and very real. I want to understand how you're feeling about this issue.
Greetings from Washington, D.C. Monday. It's the start of a new week here. The world is watching right now the situation in Iran. As you know, the news, communications, and internet is on a blackout. But right now, we know at least 500 people has been killed. There's rumors up to 2,000, and including that is also the guardsmen and the military. So it's a very contentious situation going on right now. The United States administration, Trump administration, is communicating with the ministers in Iran, and they're trying to negotiate some terms to avoid military intervention by the United States. But as we speak, the protest situation is developing, is increasing, and to the point of a somewhat of a revolution is rumored to be occurring in that country. So right now, everybody is sitting and waiting for what the Ministry of Iran is going to say to the world regarding this incident. There's talk about the incident being under control, but my sources stating that is not the situation. So again, we have no idea how this thing is going to end and what the United States and other countries are going to consider their involvement to be. So it's an ongoing situation. It's a fluid situation, and it's minute by minute right now. So we're waiting to see the outcome, what is going on. But right now, the people and the government in Iran is in their state of siege.
Of course, that's a brilliant observation from Norman Floyd Barnes. I know for a fact that in the last 12 days, international geopolitics has been a hot mess, according to Norman Floyd Barnes. I want to focus inside the studio. I want to welcome Professor Rizwana Karim Snigdha to the program. I know that it's very good to see you after such a long time. I know that you've appeared here before. As Norman Floyd Barnes was talking about the situation in Iran, but previously this very year, we've seen a situation regarding oil, regarding Venezuela, and the list of countries are piling up. First it was Venezuela, then it was a rhetoric on Greenland. Today, a protest is rocking Iran for the third week, and we understand that it is regarding people's ability to not purchase daily elements, daily commodities. And $1 is equivalent to $1 million real in their currency. I want to understand how you felt about this ongoing situation.
Thank you for having me and giving me the opportunity. Good to see you again. The fact is that when we talk about the recent Iran issue, it's not recent anymore actually. It's a very prolonged and a historical event is connected to with such crisis. If you go for it, we're going to visit, if you take the case of Iran, that's the one part of thing. And if you want to take the case of oil, alienation or oil as a weapon or oil whatever the oil is something, it's a something of natural resources. And even though you talk about Greenland or anything, all of these countries has a very distinctive natural resources. And therefore, the country like US, they are very much aware of those things, and they are always trying to get those countries not only for their empowerment, but also for their new colonial establishment. That's very important. So when you talk about Iran, Iran is not a case that you are just starting from the from 2020 or after 2000. It is before than that, because you know the Persian Empire was very much rich. They have a very strong historical nourishment, and being as a Muslim country, no matter what, they are Shia or whatever it is, but being as a Muslim country, they are very, very strong historical process. But I would like to go back to the history. If you just follow on, before 1940, once upon a time, they are following, there has been guided by the British Empire, because they have been motivated by Britain, and they have been through the Britain, and they have been changed a lot. And of course, I would like to also mention the name of Kemal Atatürk, has a big influence of Iran over there. And then what happened? Khomeini was in exile. So even you go back that period, you will find whenever people are struggling with money, whenever people are struggling with their living expenses, they revolt. It is a very natural process, because where you will definitely speak out for your living expenses or something like that. So over that period, when we saw that we have the Iranian Revolution, okay,
in 1979,
in 1970, yes, and that is the one and only revolution after the French Revolution, the very big revolution, and this Mr. Khomeini has been taken over the places. But the fact is that there is something happened over there. When Khomeini was there, he himself giving his all potentiality, focusing on creating their own weapon, own missile, own uranium, on all those style. And the fact is that one and only quote unquote Islamic state who has the capacity to build such weapons on their own merit. So these are the things makes Iran in the bottom of layer as a very threatening character for the other countries. That is one part. But in the other part, when Khomeini go over there within the boundary, within the country, nobody wants, like, if Islam is not something that I am just giving you or you have to follow the strict rules, because these are the thing has been capitalized against Khomeini. That's the issues actually. So because in particular women rights, I would like to pointing out 2022, Masha Amini, what happened over there?
Yes, a huge protest had rocked the entirety of Iran.
Yeah, it's a huge protest, and you know, like, it was a moral policing. Like you cannot push someone for wearing hijab. Even Khomeini make a verdict from the from himself that even television, the cartoon Rapunzel, that need to wear a hijab as well, because it's a female cartoon. So these are the things, it's way too much, which directly affect the progressive youth among the Iran. They might not feel the political or geopolitical outside global power, but they feel they have been excluded with the other youths or other things. So these are the things, there is a internal things as well, and there is a external things as well. And the dilemma is that, for an example, being as a Muslim, being as a human rightist, being as a as an anthropologist, I would like to go for the balance, because Khomeini should be in the balancing power. Of course, we don't want any power like US or UK, that the supreme power. So Khomeini is a very good position. But on the other hand, when I dig up to the internal fact, what I found over there, the internal crisis is way too much. If Khomeini is little bit legitimized or liberal, things would be different. So that is the issue we need to learn from Iran as well. Because if you just go forward and move forward and think about it, it's very important. Whenever you have the economic stability, whenever you have the weapon or stability or political stability, then you can make something very strong. So this is a dilemma is working over Iran. It's not just a case we need to support that or that. And also some people, definitely we will talk about Palestine and Israel as well, because we have heard that Iran is threatening Palestine as well. If they are thinking that if they are threatening Palestine, then US will calm down and they will do some other politics.
Of course, a huge number of sanctions against Iran for the last 50 odd years. I really enjoy your observations regarding Iran. Of course, I had visited Iran 2 years ago before this warlike situation started, and some of these characterizations that you brought to the viewers as well as me are very true to a certain degree. Today, Iran is fighting an inflation situation in which its people cannot purchase regular commodities, and it is causing a threat to common life. Of course, the regime, or if you would like to call it the revolutionary government, does see some kind of leniency between the people and themselves. However, crackdown on protesters is what irked US President Donald Trump to react. I want to join with Norman Floyd Barnes from Washington, D.C. As you were hearing, it's not only the inflation situation, but also the views and the notes regarding opposite genders. So there is some kind of tension before the revolution than now what is modern day Iran. So I want to understand how you understand this issue, given that do you think that this regime will continue to run its country for coming days, or do you think Donald Trump will intervene on some of these matters?
Well, thank you for this question. It's a very interesting question. It's not a clear answer to that. The situation in Iran, as my colleague has suggested, has been going on for some time. This has been going on for a long period of time. The quality of life experienced by the average person in Iran is very dismal. The basic issues of food, water, shelter, housing is a big issue. The people are feeling that they cannot live, they cannot buy food, they cannot basically enjoy themselves because they don't have the means, and they feel that the government is contributing that, but because of the isolation that they put on upon the people, and basically current, as you know, artificial intelligence and the computer has a lot to do with information. And so the government has decided to basically black out the internet and the outside influence to basically try to control the situation. Uh, we are aware that there's outside influence trying to tell the people that they should not take this, they should uprise, they should not allow the government to treat them in this manner. So right now there's a internal conflict going on regarding, we the people in Iran think we should have food, water, and the basic needs. The government is oppressing the people, and they have advised them to uprise and deal with that. The ministry of Iran is basically telling the people that we have things in control. We are working on a solution, and everything is going to be okay. But people are not seeing the results. So because of that, they are now speaking to the government and tell them that, hey, we need change, we need something, and we need action now. And right now, you have a situation where the government is trying to control the situation through military, police, and suppression of information going out, and it appears to be not working very well. And we're looking at this thing exploding and moving to the next level. So hopefully there will be a conclusion, a solution, so we don't have to have outside intervention like the United States to come into a country like Iran and provide a military solution, which is not a solution. It's another situation going on. And hopefully, I'm going to pray that there's not a black swan situation, such as, the head of the country, something happens, or the head of the country, or some type of other changes inside the country that will ignite a already tentacle situation going on in the country. So right now, we pray, we hope that the people and the government come to some type of conclusion, and we don't have another altercation, another global conflict.
Beautiful observation delivered by Norman Floyd Barnes regarding Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a short break. But after the break, we will have other pressing issues that we shall discuss. Do stay with us.
সারা দেশে লাখো মানুষের কঠোর কর্মতৎপরতা ও নিষ্ঠায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন 16 কোটি মানুষের হাতের নাগালে। দীর্ঘ 30 বছর ধরে বিশ্বস্ততা ও দ্রুততার সাথে সেবা দেওয়ায় গ্রাহক সেবায় এখন শীর্ষে। বাংলাদেশে গ্রাহক সেবার সাফল্যের পর এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন বিশ্ব বাণিজ্য কেন্দ্র সিঙ্গাপুরে। আপনার যে কোনো পণ্য সিঙ্গাপুর থেকে বাংলাদেশে বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন। এসএ পরিবহন প্রাইভেট লিমিটেড, লজিস্টিক্স পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, 22 রবার্টস লেন, সিঙ্গাপুর 218302। ফোন 0065 629 24900। বাংলাদেশ থেকে সিঙ্গাপুরে পণ্য বুকিং এর জন্য যোগাযোগ করুন ঢাকা সহ দেশের যে কোনো 80টি শাখা কেন্দ্রে। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস, আপনার সেবা সব সময়।
Welcome, Grand Palace Hotel, Dhaka. A majestic lobby blending timeless elegance with modern design. Experience 5-star comfort in suites and rooms. Sophisticated fine dining restaurant. Crystal clear swimming pool for ultimate relaxation. Modern gym and serene spa.
Welcoming all back onto the program on international affairs. In the studio, we have Professor Rezwana Karim Snigdha, and also we have Norman Floyd Barnes through Zoom. But I want to come to Professor in the studio. You see, the BBC has a live website that is reporting on the situation regarding Iran. And one of those comments that came about was that the Iranian state TV organizations are trying to project a calmer situation on the ground. You know that the last 3 days, the internet has been turned off for regular Iranians. But sources from inside the nations are being able to connect to the internet momentarily using Elon Musk's satellite Starlink and other methods. So I want to ask you the question, suppression of information in 2026 or in this modern era, there is no way to suppress information or things that happen in the real world. So I want to ask you, why would Iran, why would this regime want to suppress information, and why broadcasters such as the BBC is trying to shed some light that the Iranian state mechanisms are taking to be the mouthpiece of that regime?
Oh, this is interesting. But the information is power today. Information is like a weapon, you know, like because billions of dollars has been spent to buy such information. Not only BBC, if you just follow on, I just remember a couple of 2 days ago maybe, even in Palestine, there are lots of people get such a text from Iran or something like that is unknown. So with their voter ID and NID and all this stuff. So that information has been also leaked as well, right? So the question is that when you say that information, because we know more than 500 maybe has been reported, people has been killed in Iran. So this is a case over there, and it has been reported by the human rights organization as well. Also, there is information about there is a many mosque has been attacked.
A mosque has been burned down.
Burned out, yeah.
It is very contradictory to the people's belief.
Yeah, it is very symbolic. When the mosque is been burned out, that's why I'm telling this is very symbolic. This is not only about the economic crisis or something like that, because people are accusing the whole governance system. They are fighting for it. There is a one condition. Another thing, it's also very important. I would like to recall the thing is that few months earlier, BBC has been fined by Donald Trump. Remember?
Yes.
So you
correct.
asked me why BBC is trying to calm down. It's an hypothesis. We don't know because they are, after that situation, it was really very big issue for BBC Media.
The CEO Tim Davie had resigned.
Yeah, both of them. Both of them. Yeah, they signed the issue and they trimmed. So we don't know what is happening over there because when you are in a vulnerable situation, even in such a media like BBC, so there are many other parties have some door for the negotiation. So when you talk about information, maybe this information, situation is calmed down, this information helps whom? That's a very important question. Situation calmed down, as I mentioned, because they got a very strong message to Israel as well, right? So when Israel got such a message, so we never know why BBC is going to say such information because there are many issues can be possible, number one. Number two, because these are the issues is not limited into Iran. These are the issue with America, with Israel, with Palestine, with all, even NATO. Even NATO is very
NATO shares a different kind of danger on these days because of Greenland.
Yeah, because of Greenland. Yeah, because you know, Denmark president has clearly mentioned no matter what, whoever is there, they will shoot it out. So these are the things, it's all together. So what I try to say, according to my perception, this information, we get very few information, even though in internet, even though whatever we get, this is a very fabricated information. We don't know the real raw picture. Only the living people who are there, they have that experience and they have the real information. So within this fabricated information, it creates the legitimacy of attacking either Iran or Israel. In both ways, you have to create a narrative. And this information creates a narrative. So some media maybe move forward to calm down situation, or maybe some media is not. But the thing is that whatever is the situation is very important. We don't want a third world war at all, right?
Of course.
Because the situation is not good, because we know war doesn't give us anything. But whatever it is, there is a silent Cold War already began from the 2020 after, maybe when the Russia attacked the Ukraine. That is this beginning. So we are in a war that is called Cold War. Maybe not that much war, but that is the situation. We would like to move it out or bust it out, because as I said, there are many people who has a big industry of arms. They always want to boiling the world in different issues.
To create avenues where they can use these military
because their capital is this thing. If you are not boiling, then who is going to buy such a thing? This is very important. So even though I think even Iran is targeted is not because of that Iran is just creating their just powerful. Iran is targeting because Iran is not buying weapon or any arms from the other country like US.
Right.
If today Iran is going to buy arms from the US or something like Turoshko, it will be different. Things will be different. But even why China is silent? See, we know that China and US have very different competitive relationship historically. You see, China is silent. Few moments earlier, I saw a news, even Japan, they are hidingly planning for uranium or something like that. So that has been also exposed in China as well. So China kept silent because China is strategic. China is waiting. China is not going to say anything, keep silent. Jim Kong is silent always. We never know what happened over there. But in Iran, it's solely connected with Israel. Also, it is connected with the new political regime of Third World War.
Thanks for this lovely observation regarding all of the venues around the world. We know that even though Iran does not purchase its goods from the Western allies, but their enrichment of 403 kilograms of uranium and this product becoming gone in the height of the 12-day war last year, it raised huge questions from international agencies such as the International Agency of Energy Association, the IAEA, responsible for nuclear activities, or nuclear watchdog, we would like to call them. So I want to come to Norman Floyd Barnes. I'm sure that you were hearing what we were discussing in the studio, and it is very important to understand that in the last 12 days we've seen movement of the US forces, and not only in the Caribbean, but also taking a preparation for in the Middle East, while the leader of Iran had said that they would be attacking US bases if they feel any kind of threat, any kind of retaliation from the Western side. So I want to understand how you felt about this, given that when Donald Trump stepped into his second term, he said, we will not wage any foreign wars, we will be stepping out of that, and we will definitely take the steps to make America great again. And also in this last 12 days, we see that ICE enforcement has taken the life of Renee Good, which sparked protest not only outside but also inside the 50 states as well. So I want to get your remarks given this entire situation over the last 12 days. Norman Floyd Barnes.
Thank you for that question. Yes, indeed, 2026 has been a very unique, and it appears to be going to be a very special period of time for the world, and particularly here in the United States. There's a transitioning happening. Our government here in the United States is changing their global policies geared more towards developing and securing. Consequently, domestically, we have issues with the issue of immigration. As you mentioned, the loss of life of Ms. Good in Minnesota is highlighting that. We just had a protest yesterday regarding the Iranian situation where a truck tried to, in Los Angeles exactly, tried to run through a crowd. Fortunately, the driver was arrested, but it was a attack on a crowd trying to instigate the people. The people are not very happy with what's going on with this theme of America Great Again. The question now is not that America is great again, is what America are you talking about is great again? Because right now, just like the rest of the world, people are experiencing shortages in food, shortages in resources. They don't have basically live day to day. That's the average person. However, our country is looking at Venezuela, Greenland, the situation in Iran. We are involved in all of these external things, and our internal situation is as I mentioned, my term is a hot mess. Our administration is attempting to change and improve situation, but right now, in this process of breaking down and redeveloping is causing a lot of heartache, a lot of stress, and a lot of discomfort to the world. We still don't know, the people here, what is the overall plan? What is the objective? Why are we going to Iran? Why are we in Nigeria? Why are we in and
Okay,
what's
Norman,
going on in Panama? How are we going to deal with this situation? So it is up in the air right now. We're 11, 12 days in the year, and I don't anticipate any type of slowdown. I see more of acceleration until this government comes out with a overall view. What is the plan? Why are we doing these things to the people? Right now, our Congress has been left in the dark. They're not trusted by the administration. So things are happening without the knowledge of the people and the support of the people. So it brings up a lot of questions. And the issue of trust is now the biggest issue here. We don't understand. We don't know how to trust the government and what they're doing. No one is discussing the plan. Apparently there is a plan, and hopefully there's a positive outcome. But right now, it's not known to the people of this country.
I want to thank Norman Floyd Barnes for his remarks regarding these worldwide issues. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time for a short break. After the break, we shall be discussing other issues pertaining to the global order. Do stay with us.
perfect venue for corporate events, weddings, and parties. Seamless and secured, elegant and eye-catching design. Indulge, relax, discover the first 5-star chain hotels in Bangladesh. Grand Palace Hotel Dhaka, 22 Kakrail, Dhaka, Bangladesh.
Welcome to Grand Club at Mirpur 10 Dhaka. Elegant spa and wellness facility for ladies and gents. Play pool and snooker in international standard billiard zone. World-class gym facility with exclusive equipment for man and woman. A restaurant of delicious local and international cuisine. Fully air-conditioned building with spacious banquet, car lift, sky view rooftop restaurant, all in one. Grand Club Limited, Mirpur 10, Dhaka.
কি এমন জিনিস যেটা সব লোকে খায়, ছোটরা খেলে?
As we begin the last segment of this program, I want to again garner the attention of Norman Floyd Burns. I know for a fact that the adversaries of the U.S., namely some, China, Russia and Iran are, as a part of the expanding BRICS Plus grouping, is taking part in a naval exercise, a joint naval exercise off the coast of the Cape of Good Hope, Cape Town, South Africa. Of course, this highlights deeper military cooperation amongst non-Western powers. Of course, I want to understand how you felt, given that the de-dollarization was one of the arguments. Today, there is an open joint naval exercise between these countries, all of which share different kind of feelings, different kinds of understanding with the U.S. foreign policy and, of course, the U.S. administration. I want to get your closing remarks before I can come back in the studio. Norman Floyd Burns.
Yes, thank you. These exercises, these military exercises, is just basically what it is an exercise on coordination of resources, and most of these, actually, the majority of these type of exercises is basically a coordination. Basically, how are we going to work together? How the resources are they looking at the future? They're looking at the situation where with the United States, NATO, we're looking at Russia, we're looking at China, how they are now moving towards another direction. So that leads these countries to basically, well, we have to decide on our own welfare and we have to coordinate our resources. We can't depend on the big actors to come to our aid. So we have to understand that we have to talk about self-preservation. We have to bring in our resources and work as a regional response to issues, and we can't trust that the superpowers are going to basically look out for our best interests. So we have to basically do things for ourselves, which I think is it's a wise decision. To basically work on how to protect your region, how your area, and not depend on somebody else. Because if they come in as you look at Venezuela, Colombia, Mexico, other places. They're coming in with solutions, but the solutions are not to your advantage. They'll be to their advantage, and basically you'll be under their control situation. So the best solution is basically to have your own solution. Thank you.
Thank you, Norman Floyd Burns, for joining us on the program today. I want to focus back into the studio with Professor Rizwana Snigdha. Okay, ma'am. So, as we were talking with Norman Floyd Barnes, we understand that China, Russia, Iran, they're taking on a naval activity onto the tip of South Africa. All of these nations have a bad repertoire with the United States only because during the second term of Donald Trump, and how he had dealt with the South African president when in initial days when he had visited early last year. So all of this targets to move away, a shift of power from the US-based world order to a more generally accepted China, who is leading with other world major powers such as Russia, North Korea, and that entire belt of nations that the America doesn't favor. So I want to understand, Donald Trump has no regard for international law or for the laws of the sea. What are you seeing in the coming days? I know that we are all trying to see a situation where dialogue prevails over the need of using military intervention. So what would be your take on this matter?
Now, the thing is that this is what we call, something is called hard alliance and something called soft alliance. So these are the symbol of soft alliance. Actually, it's a symbolic message to give a person like Donald Trump or US, like, you have such a thing. So we are alliance together. It is like kind of a anti-US Quran or something like that. Like, we are not we are not supporting you, but we have some sort of alliance. We have some sort of military alliance, strategic alliance, though it's not formal. It's not institutional, but we are just giving you the message that yes, if you are thinking that you are going to attack us, so there is a position of us. So that is the what is happening over here. But the thing is that the question is that it's again, you see, when it's the case of Donald Trump, I am really very I don't know that this type of alliance, even though this type of alliance, how much it works for them, because what Norman mentioned, that you say that America has been suffering a huge economical crisis last couple of years, and America is desperate, US is desperate to recover those issues, because they are cutting out their workers and all those things. So they are trying to push the world so that people are prioritizing US, because when we are talking about US, you don't know how much this thing also increase their economy. This is how worlds work on, because nobody is talking about from today we are stopping using dollar.
And that was
Just
the motive of the BRICS nations.
Yes. Like, if just only this thing, if we just stop using the foreign currency as a US dollar, that will be the biggest huge threat, even though such alliance or anything else. But I don't know whether this thing is possible or not, but this is a simple step can change the whole global world, because you know how this currency make us bound on US. This is the one issue. Right. Another thing is I like to pointing out just a little thing. This is a framing politics, which is very important, because you are framing people. Like, America is really, it's very interesting. When you talk about human rights, you are talking, you are the pioneer of saying such a thing, this is the right and this is the wrong. At the same time, you are the one who violating all the rules,
right,
going to other country and taking one president over there in such a way. So that is a twisted version. So this are the thing is happening over there. So this is the high time to just make it together and ask America, what is your position? What is your take when you're talking about your US aid program? Why your US aid program is
been
selective?
Closed off.
Yeah. Why this one is selective? Why your human rights is very selective? Why you framing people in such a way? So this question need to be asked, I think, like a UN National Assembly or something like that. This is the place we need to bring this thing over there as well, because at least whatever it is the situation, this is 2026, the human civilization is going up. So we are not interested for fighting or any blood, because every life is important for me, for my part. But at the same time, we need to negotiate how the power balance, because power need to be balanced. Even though you are Muslim, Christian, whatever religion, it need to be balanced, because this is a human unity. So America, once upon a time, it was UK, and you know what they have done.
The colonial powers were
colonial power. Yeah, they
United
have
Kingdom,
just rule over us, and they just make us poor to poorer. So we don't know all of a sudden we are learning that we all of a sudden we understand that we are savage. We understand we are poor. We didn't know that we are savage. We didn't know we are poor. But they make our mind that yes, we need to learn something. Now the question is that when you are killing the people in Palestine, you are supporting Israel. Who is savage now? This question needs to be raised, right?
Very
So we
important
are
issue,
savage.
yes.
So we are underdeveloped. Then what is your development? What is your position? Because you are going to support them. So this question needs to be addressed theoretically, evidence-based, and come them or take them to the accountability. Because if you are just pointing only this fighting, nuclear weapon and all those things, this is not going to done. That will be continue. But this is something we need to come and move forward. Let the world know who are the savage people, who actually underdeveloped, and who actually developed in mind, and who need to learn how modernity goes.
I must thank you very much for your observations and opening up all of these issues of arguments, especially not the fact that the Western society does have some kind of hypocrisy towards, they tell people to avoid one thing and that then them themselves are committing those very crimes. I would definitely say that the US is very complicit in helping out Benjamin Netanyahu's genocide in Gaza. So all of these issues do require more attention to bring up on these kinds of platforms so the people can understand who is what and who are actually the savages of society. That's how you brought this up on this issue. I must thank you once again for your valuable insight and commentary regarding worldwide issues here on International Affairs. I must also thank Norman Floyd Barnes, who had joined us from Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, as I draw a closure, today is January 12, 2026. In this day, back in 2010, the island nation of Haiti was struck with a 7.0 magnitude earthquake, claiming the lives of hundreds of thousands of people, notably also 102 United Nations personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I shall see you all on tomorrow's program.